Okay, so today we're going to be working on this Harry Potter effect, and basically we're going to be doing two Harry Potter effects. We're going to be doing the Lumos effect, which is like the glowing light thing, which is basically a lens flare, and we're going to get him to also shoot out some magic-y voodoo stuff. Okay, so we're going to start off with the Lumos effect, and to do that we're going to have to track the tip of this wand. So we're going to go down into our tracker panel down here, and if you don't have it, then what you need to do is you need to click Window and then click Tracker. And if you already have it and you've moved it somewhere, then it'll be where you've moved it, but this is the normal spot. Okay, so select your footage, click Motion Source, and then select the name of the footage, and then it'll come into this. So your footage without any effects on it, which means I still have my blue screen. And if you're wondering why I used a blue screen, it's because it had less wrinkles than the green screen, and I couldn't be bothered to use the green screen. Laziness. Okay, so then select your footage and click Track Motion, and then we get a track point, which is here, and I'm going to just move it over to the tip of the wand and enlarge this one. It gives a bit of working space, and I'm just going to make it so it's the same width as the wand, and then I'll just shrink this down. As this, it doesn't move much. It doesn't need to be that big, but the bigger it is, the longer it'll take, but the more accurate, or, you know, less likely to muck up it'll be. Now I'm going to just go through the frames, but I know that it tracks this really well, so I'm actually just going to click play, and you can see it tracks the footage really quickly in this case, even though it's only Adobe's built-in tracker, which means it is really easy to track, I guess. So we have our trackers here. Now, we need to apply this to a null layer, but first we need a null layer, so right-click and click New, and then click Null Object, and then we're going to click Edit Target, click this and click Select Your Null, whatever you've named it. I haven't, but you might. Click OK, and then click Apply, and make sure X and Y is selected. Click OK. So now you go back into here, and your null object has the tracking data built into position, so it goes where the wand goes. And now we can use this null as like a place to anchor our effects, so they follow where the null goes. So the actual lens flare that we're going to use here is, you can do whatever you want. If you go in the cheap way, just search lens flare, and there is a lens flare built in. Otherwise, I'm going to use optical flares. You can use Knoll Light Factory, whatever you want. But to start with, we need a new solid. So I'm going to click Control Y, or right click and then New Solid. I'm just going to rename it Lens Flare. Make sure it's comp size and black, although that doesn't matter. Then I'm going to add my optical flares, and there'll be a link to that in the description. And then I'm going to screen it. Okay. So the position, I'm going to parent to the null layer by dragging this little width thing to the null. Okay, so you can see we have attached it to this, but unfortunately it's not following the wand. It's just a few bits away, and you can also see when it goes out of frame, sometimes up here you can see it, it's sort of one bit's light and one bit isn't light, so we need to fix this. What I'm going to do is just make it a bit bigger, and then select the optical flares, move the actual flare to where the tip of the wand is, and now, when we play it, so now we're going to be looking at this effect. So I've just got my actor going, waving his wand, and we want to create magic. So, for this, we'll need some stock footage, you need some fire, but that is it. So to start with, I'm going to do Control Y to create a new solid. Control Y, there we go, and we're going to call this lens flare. So we do want to add a lens flare in this, just because it makes it look really good and it sort of brings the effect together, even though I'm doing it first. And we just want to find the frame where the magic happens. So I'm thinking here. Move the flare to the tip of the wand, and then we're just going to shorten this, and we will lengthen it in a moment. We'll just make it one frame long for now. So now when he does the magic spell, there's a flash of light, and we will change the colour in a moment. So we're going to be doing the red spell. You'll see how easy it is to change the colour. So we're going to drag our stock footage into our thing, and we have it here.
Action.
Basically just some fire. Okay, so we're going to screen it to get rid of the background. And I'm actually going to do add maybe, that looks a bit brighter. And then I'm going to add a curves effect to it. And doesn't matter what you do with the brightness, I'm going to pull it down a bit. I'm going to throw the red up like that and actually make it brighter. Actually not, because you're getting sort of red backgroundy tint. And that looks really fiery. And then I'm going to pull the green down, pull the blue down, and we've got red. But you can see if we just pulled the red down, grabbed the... didn't do that. Grabbed the green, pulled that up. Now we've got a green spell. It's really easy to change. So we're just going to go with red because why not? I like the colour red. Okay, so we're going to shorten this down to here. And then we're going to move it along to our wand. So at the moment it actually kind of looks like fire. So to create the effect that this is completely not fire, I'm just going to flip it in the rotation completely and make it look a bit less fiery. Although actually it would have been easier to do at the other end. But oh well. Anyway, we're going to use an effect called Mesh Warp, which allows you to manipulate the object to make it go in the direction that you want. So you can see we're sort of pulling it that way. So if we just pull it on a slant, oh god, not like that, by grabbing the corner of the grid and just really pulling the effect diagonally. And I'm going to try and pull this part in a bit because it doesn't look, you know, it still looks good, but it's not as magic-y. And you can see we're really like making it look like we're pushing the effect forwards, and it looks more magical. Maybe do that. Doesn't really matter what you do, it looks good most of the time no matter what. And now actually we've got more of a pointy thing there, so we now have blah, and then it acts like normal fire. But we need the effect of the fire growing outwards, so we're going to click keyframe on scale and position, and on this frame we're going to click, we're going to go to the frame before, and we're going to click scale down to 0. And now that we've done this, we can select, well, don't need to worry about that. Go to here, and then we have this. So we're going to move these keyframes along, maybe just one frame. And
action.
And it really looks magical, especially with this optical flare going. So I'm going to move this down one because that's when it starts growing. Yeah, and maybe make this a few frames longer. It's really just about playing with the effect to see what works for you. And then after that we're going to scale it back down to 0 again. So it's a real quick flash.
Action.
And in an action situation, I mean this isn't a very action-packed scene, but in an action situation that would look super cool. So there you go, 2 super easy Harry Potter effects, and yeah, I really like the way this has turned out. Okay, so when you have finished your clip, it's got no sound on it, so we need to do something about that. So here I've got the sound of like a meat slice, so someone cutting some meat. So I'm just gonna move across to the point where the effect actually happens. So there, looks good, and I'm gonna throw in this meat slice sound effect. That sounds like this, and that sounds kind of magic-y apart from the stabbing. So then I've got some wind. I think this wind really works quite well. Until of course you get to the part where it just keeps going windy. So I think we can cut off the wind here, and you won't be able to tell. And that sounds, oh god, going back to the beginning again. And you kind of get a magic-y feel, and then put some music. I've got some music here on top of that, and now we have this. Okay, maybe move the music a bit more forwards. If we zoom out a bit, like this. Let's just start over here. Now that looks really magic-y. For this, you don't really need a sound effect. Just put on some kind of, I don't know, maybe mysterious music, or if it's an action scene, then action music. But in a dark scene where there's like light, then I wouldn't do much of an action bit where you use a spell like that. So yeah. Anyway, until next time, bye.